You answer the phone and say, "Hello, who picked that word?" It almost was Ahoy. Here is the tiny fork in history that steered every phone call you have ever made. Every call starts the same way. You say, "Hello." It feels automatic, like breathing. But the first telephones did not come with a script. A person had to choose the very first word you would hear. In 1877, the brand new phone world argued over the opener, and it almost went full pirate. Before ringtones and call bells were common, how did you even start a call? People did not sit next to the phone all day. Early users literally shouted into the transmitter to pull someone across the room. The first phone problem was not small talk. It was this simple thing. What single word can you yell that works every time? Alexander Graham Bell had an answer in 1810. He liked Ahoy. That is a sailor's hail. You use it when you call across distance at sea. Bell reportedly kept answering his own phone with Ahoy for years. It fit a device you did not ring, but hailed. It sounded bold and clear, but not everyone was on board. So why did Ahoy feel so right to the phone's own inventor? For one, it was a perfectly engineered sound. Early phone lines were a mess of static and faint signals. You needed a word with sharp, distinct vowels that could cut through the noise. Ahoy does that job perfectly, but more than that, it captured the feeling of the telephone. It was a device for hailing someone across a vast, invisible distance, just like a ship's captain calling to another vessel across the water. It was dramatic, it was a little adventurous, and it fit a world where connecting with someone miles away felt like a minor miracle. Then Thomas Edison writes a note in August 1870. He writes to T.B.A. David in Pittsburgh. He says, "Forget a call bell for now. Just use hello to call up the other person." Simple word. Big result. He even gives a spec for it. He says it can be heard 10 to 20 feet according to lungs. That is peak Edison. Practical and a little cheeky. That 10 to 20 feet line is the giveaway. Edison is not thinking manners. He is thinking acoustics. You yell hello into the mouthpiece. The sound carries through a room. The other person hears you and hustles over. In a world before a ring at the far end, the word itself is the ring. The greeting is the doorbell. Did Edison invent the word? No. Hello already existed in the 19th century. People wrote hello and hello and hello. It was an attention getter, like hey there. Edison's move was to push it as the standard telephone call-up. He took a common shout and gave it a new job. The phone would turn the shout into a greeting. Then the script gets printed. January 28, 1878. The first commercial exchange opens in New Haven, Connecticut. The little directory in February, about 50 listings, tells users to begin with hello. It even says, "Do not ask, are you there?" Companies were literally printing how to talk. The spelling wobbled. The idea did not. Start with a loud attention word. And that little instruction in the New Haven directory, "Do not ask, are you there?" wasn't just fussy advice. It was critical. Early telephone systems often used party lines, where multiple households shared a single connection. Imagine trying to have a private conversation when your neighbors could, and often would, pick up and listen in. The lines hissed and crackled. If you and the person you were calling both started with a hesitant, "Are you there?" you could get stuck in a loop of confusion, talking over each other and the line noise. It was inefficient. Hello was an elegant solution. It was a firm, clear signal. I have opened the channel. It is your turn to speak. It imposed order on the electrical chaos. But the real amplifiers of hello weren't inventors or directories. They were an army of new workers, and it started with one woman, Emma Nutt. On September 1st, 1878, she became the world's first female telephone operator in Boston. Before her, the job belonged to teenage boys, the same ones who worked in telegraph offices. And it was a disaster. They were impatient. They played pranks on the callers, swore at them, and generally wrestled with the switchboard cords like they were fighting a giant mechanical squid. It was chaos. So telephone companies made a pivot. They started hiring women, believing they had the ideal temperament for the job, calm, patient, and polite. Emma Nutt was the pioneer. She and the thousands of women who followed her were trained to have a clear, reassuring voice. Their scripted opening was a crisp, professional hello. They became known as the Hello Girls, and they were the human interface for this new technology. Every single call went through them, and every single call started with that same word, spoken with practiced calm. They didn't just connect the wires. They connected a word to an action, thousands of times a day, in every city in America. Repetition does the heavy lifting. One word, thousands of times, in every town. That beats any grammar book. Kids heard parents say it into the phone. Stores heard it from operators. Newspapers heard it at the city desk. It became the safe opener with strangers. You did not need to know the person. Hello cleared the runway. Scale finished the job. In 1877, there were almost no phones. By 1900, the United States had about 1.35 million telephones. That is a language megaphone. The network grew, and so did the habit. Edison helped popularize the word, but he did not coin it. The network made it default. The telephone branded hello. World War I seals it. In 1918, the U.S. Army Signal Corps sends 223 bilingual operators to France. They work Allied headquarters switchboards. People call them the Hello Girls. They move commands in seconds. If your battlefield slang for an operator is hello, the word is fully locked in. It is not just civilian anymore. And here is the quiet revolution that happened inside that single word. Before the telephone, hello or hello wasn't really a greeting. It was an exclamation. It's what you'd shout to get the attention of a ferryman across a river, or what you might cry out in surprise. It was a utility word for getting someone's attention, but the telephone domesticated it. The Hello Girls turned the shout into a calm, polite opening. The technology turned strangers into callers who needed a safe, neutral way to begin a conversation. Hello became that word, and as the telephone network spread across the globe, the word went with it. Many languages simply adopted a version of it specifically for the phone. Allo in French, allo in Spanish, allo in Russian. It's a direct linguistic echo of Edison's memo and the switchboard etiquette, baked into languages all over the world. This was not a public fight on a stage. Bell liked Ahoy. Edison pushed hello in letters in 1877. Local habits varied. Early documents show hello, hello, hello. Spellings moved around. The practice converged. The companies, the operators, and the printed guides made hello standard. Stories that Bell always used Ahoy forever are hard to prove everywhere. What is clear is how the industry settled it. You can feel the old rules in support calls today. Hello, thanks for calling. How can I help? That is pure switchboard energy. Calm voice. Clear open. Turn taking. Even the pause after hello comes from those first manuals. We still follow a script made for crank phones and party lines. We just carry it in our pockets. So why did Ahoy sink? It signals distance at sea, not a quick indoor hello. It sounds like a bit. It also never got the same printing press boost. Directories and training sheets locked in hello. Operators said it at work and at home. Ahoy stuck around as a fun aside. Pop culture kept it as a wink. Mr. Burns says ahoy hoy for a reason. It is wild how small choices shape language. The inventor wanted one word. The rival promoter wrote a memo. The first exchange printed a rule. Thousands of women voiced it with care. A nation repeated it. The result is what you say every time your phone rings. That is a branding win, not an inventor's decree. Quick recap. A single 1877 memo said, "Use hello." A tiny 1878 directory told people to answer with Hulloa. Emma Nutt and then armies of operators spoke hello all day. By 1900, 1,000,000+ phones made it normal between strangers. In 1918, the Army's Hello Girls stamped it in. The shout became our greeting. Next time your phone lights up, remember the road not taken. We could all be saying ahoy. Instead, a few paper notes and a lot of patient voices chose your first word. Hello 1, ahoy sank. And now you have a tiny story you can drop at dinner. If this kind of hidden origin makes your brain smile, subscribe and poke around the channel. There is more everyday stuff with strange backstories waiting here. Drop a like if you had fun, and I will see you next time.